Tell them. Tell them all. Whoever it is. Whoever comes. I'll kill them. I'll kill them all.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to be going over my action reaction of John Wick Chapter 2. Now, I recently reviewed this when it came out in February, but I had such a horrible theater experience that it kind of bogged the film down for me. Eventually, I got it on Blu-ray, and I've watched it a couple of times now. My thoughts and feelings of it have improved. The film's flaws are still there, but without that horrible experience, I'm able to judge the film as it is. And of course, John Wick Chapter 2 is an awesome ride from beginning to end. If you're looking for a great action movie, again, like John Wick 1, this is one of the best. Now, it only has one director this time with Chad Stahelski. He was a former stunt double for Keanu Reeves in the Matrix trilogy, and Keanu Reeves did a lot of his own stunts here. In the first film, he did about 90% of his stunts, and this one he does 95%. It not only continues where John Wick left off, but it expands the world of John Wick. You get to see more of how the underworld society of this John Wick hitman world works, and it's really interesting. This one is a bit more like a comic book than the first, but still very well done and has like an original identity of its own. This feels original. This doesn't really feel like anything else I've seen. Keanu Reeves once again delivers a really great performance as John Wick. And in the first one, like I mentioned in my other review, he was somebody who was from this world. He was civilized and had to be thrown back into it. By the sequel, he is the John Wick that everybody was afraid of, and he just gets put through hell. He puts people through hell. It is nuts. You get to see John Wick unhinged in this sequel, and the action is spectacular. Again, no shaky cam, really. There's long sequences. The Rome scene in the catacombs is a standout that's just insane. The subway. Him using a pencil, yeah, he had the Russian guy that was with him in Constantine, and also Common and him were in Street Kings, but yeah, he's just like, with a pencil! He did it with a fucking pencil! You actually get to see him kill two hitmen with just a pencil. I've never been so scared of number 2 pencils since The Dark Knight, and hell, John Wick showed them a magic trick, alright. Besides the catacombs, you have that fight in the mirror hall that is just insane. Probably one of the most well-shot, well-choreographed scenes I've seen in an action film that's very well done and creates for a wonderful sequence in the film. Ian McShane reprises his role. He has a bit of a bigger role, and then you have this new villain, and it's really John Wick going a favor. In a way, it's kind of like the Pirates of the Caribbean to Dead Man's Chest syndrome, where I feel like there would be more motivation if they went against him, where this one, John Wick just didn't want to owe this guy a favor, even though he did. Where in the first one, with that robbery, him getting beaten up and his dog killed, you felt sympathy, you felt remorse, and also you knew his motivations of why he went after them. This one, you don't really get that. It's almost like he does it because he has to. But eventually, of course, he always gets double-crossed by the other men, and when that happens, the film goes on overdrive. I really like the pace and build-up of this film up until Rome. Afterwards, there's just a little bit too much action without breathing room. And by that, I mean the first John Wick has some breathing room, and so did Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's like Terminator 2 to Terminator 3. Terminator 2, of course, has great action scenes. Terminator 3 has some good action scenes, but it's just so much without any breathing room that it doesn't feel as good, where T2 really has some breathing room and great action scenes, so you feel it more. It's like a horror movie when you have relatable characters that you care about versus those you don't. John Wick's kind of like that, where it just has a little bit too much action for its own good, that it just feels like it's too much without a little bit of breathing room, especially when it goes back to New York and you have that whole sequence of the hitman. But I do like that montage. It's very nice, and Common and him is a very great rivalry, and I just love that part with, like, consider this a professional courtesy. Ruby Rose also plays a very unique character. She basically is mute. She only speaks through sign language, and I like the stuff between her and Keanu Reeves here. Some great stuff, and she's kind of like that female comic book type of villain. Ultimately, the villain kind of reminds me of like an Italian Joaquin Phoenix. He's not as strong as a previous villain, but I think that's the whole point of it. He's kind of a coward. And you have other henchmen basically going after John Wick before he gets to him. And of course, when you stab the devil in the back, you're gonna get it. And John Wick brings hell. Chapter 2 is an enjoyable sequel. It's not one of those that's completely horrible. A lot of sequels either try to do the same thing as a first or just completely nosedive. John Wick 2 is one of those rare sequels that is just as good as a first and really keeps it up as a film on its own. It starts off where the other one left off. Brilliant car chases, the fighting. The cinematography definitely has that more pop neon look to it. This one is definitely more vibrant and hyper realism. It's hyperactive realism with the action, and I really like it. And it ultimately leaves a cliffhanger for part 3, which I don't know how the hell is going to go or how he's going to get out of it. But you do get a Matrix reunion again with Lawrence Fishburne, so that's nice. A whole bunch of reunions for Keanu Reeves, and it really leaves it open. And you kind of wonder, how is it going to conclude? It is a chapter 2. It's not just John Wick 2. This is a continuation of John Wick. And it's an enjoyable movie. My score has gone up a bit since I first saw it, and I give it a 4.5 out of 5 and an A-. John Wick Chapter 2, I like the first one a bit more. It's not as good as the first, but the action is better in many ways. And as an action film, it is an awesome, enjoyable film at that, and probably one of the better films this year in this lackluster 2017. And it kind of makes me scared to go out. Like, everyone is a hitman. Everyone wants to kill me. I feel like I'm in the Matrix when there's agents there. Like, seriously, it makes you kind of scared and skeptical of people around you. It's like, is that person a hitman? Is that person a hitman? Everybody's out to kill me. I don't know. It's just nuts in that regard. So yeah, that is my actual reaction of John Wick Chapter 2. If you have not seen John Wick or John Wick Chapter 2, I highly recommend it. And if you have seen John Wick Chapter 2, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the film and which one do you like more. I personally like both, but I kind of like John Wick 1 just a tad more. Anyways, feel free to leave your comment, like the video if you like this, and subscribe for more videos.